My question really is, at what point how do we decide who's going to get to play, assuming that at some point there will be a resumption of oil drilling on the Outer Continental Shelf, that there are leases that have been let and they will be exploited? What is the criteria for companies to now drill upon the American Outer Continental Shelf? Obviously, I have a very serious, long-standing concern with British Petroleum. In my other committee, in the Education and Labor Committee, we have chronicled over many years, as has OSHA, dangerous, lethal behavior by them, repeated time and again in the refineries, on the pipelines, and elsewhere under their jurisdiction. And now we see many of the warnings that we received over the last decade by independent commissions, from former Secretary of State James Baker's independent commission to the pipeline safety to Booz Allen, talking about cost cutting, about dangerous decisions that were ignored all the way to the boardroom, time and again. And I guess the question I have is, I want to know, are they going to be allowed to go back out onto what is a very dangerous place, as we now see, for the environment, a critical area to explore for oil. Are they going to be allowed to go out there or into the Arctic? I'm sure they have the technical capabilities to do it. That's not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is the ethics of this company and how they have performed in the past to measure their performance in the future. I think they should be debarred from participating in the Outer Continental Shelf for 5 or 7 years. It will have little or no impact on the supply of fossil fuels to this country. This is one of the most competitive places, one of the prizes to drill in the world, and with possibly some of the greatest returns to them. But at some point, the American people are entitled to a standard. They have killed their workers before. They have refused to comply. They've paid some of the largest fines in history. I see that you just assessed them an additional fine for false, inaccurate, and misleading reports, which I assume is they misled the American public what they owed them on those lands. And I just want to know how that department's going to handle this, or how you think the Congress should handle this. Sort of like a poker game. You got to have jacks or better to open. You ought to bring a safety record. You ought to bring a conscientious corporate policy to the Outer Continental Shelf at a minimum. The questions of whether or not the Outer Continental Shelf will be available or not in the future is a different decision. But which parties are going to get to play, and what are the standards that are going to be imposed?